what I said. Cut one, Mr. Producer, go. I think back, what did the Mueller prosecutors want to do with the president? They wanted to question him. And question him about what? Questions related to obstruction. Stop right there. This is before we ever saw the Barr letter, which came out on Sunday, to the chairman of these various committees in Congress. Just a matter of logic, thinking it through. Questions related to obstruction. This was my concern of sorts, that this is where Mueller would put his marker. Go ahead. Questions related to the firing of Jim Comey. Questions related to Michael Flynn and his discussion, the president's, with Comey about Flynn and so forth. There were several dozen questions they wanted to pose to the president surrounding this issue of obstruction. I'm not betting on this. I'm just giving you my best thinking on this. I'm in the dark completely, and unlike all these other people, I'm telling you I'm in the dark completely, but people keep asking me, what do I think? I think this is where they will try and slap or hammer the president. I hope I'm wrong. It's not something I'm rooting for. It's not something I'm certain about in any respect. I don't know how many more caveats I can provide.
245.
But they kept pursuing that doggedly. They wanted to interview the president about that. And they could put language in there that he was not forthcoming, that he would not assist, that he made multiple contradictory statements and things of that sort, which the media and the Democrats will hang their hats on. So this is one area that concerns me. It doesn't concern me as a constitutional or legal matter. It concerns me as a political matter because I think that Nancy Pelosi is a liar, that she's a fraud, and she'd be more than happy to try and lead impeachment efforts against the President of the United States. Well, there you go, folks. Right on the target. Right over the target. Now, what of this Mueller and his report and his comment in the report? What of Mueller? The investigation did not, there's a quote, the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. So good on collusion, which was the whole basis for this entire scheme, this entire fraud. Well, what about an obstruction? Special counsel states, quote, while this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it does not exonerate him. Two things. He's a prosecutor. He doesn't decide if somebody's committed a crime. He charges people that he believes might have committed a crime. He also does not exonerate people. You either charge them or you don't. That's the jury's job. But you see what he did with that language? What Mr. Mueller did there was utterly unethical. Now, that fat slob Carl Bernstein on CNN, who keeps coughing up his dinner in his brains every time he speaks, likes to talk about Watergate. John Dean is still suspicious. John Dean, a little pencil neck, is a complete sleazeball, in my humble opinion, and there he is. Next thing you know, CNN will hire Michael Cohen from prison to give his comments. Two men who have been disbarred, or will be soon in the latter case. Let's go to Watergate, ladies and gentlemen. I mentioned this all over Fox, and I need to mention it here, because you have a life over the weekend, and you're probably not glued to TV all weekend. There was a gentleman by the name of Leon Jaworski. He was the second, what they called then, special prosecutor in the Watergate matter. They were not operating under the Independent Counsel Act. Under the Independent Counsel Act, you're required to put this thorough report out, very comprehensive, make recommendations, even highlight something that might be impeachable. Well, Congress decided later they didn't like that, smartly, and they dropped it. So reports are supposed to be very limited. So the Mueller report was supposed to be akin to the Jaworski report. And the vast majority of the Watergate report was under seal until a couple of years ago. Under seal. Since the 1970s. And the Democrats want the full report that was delivered to the Attorney General. Well, you don't get the full report. Well, 80% of the people excuse me, this is a justice system.